Hey, what's up guys? Rob here, and I'm back with another list video. Recently, I did my favorite films of the year 1980. And I stated in that video that I'm going to be continuing on all the way up to 89. And then after that, I might do the 90s and probably even the 70s, go back to the 70s. But, you know, I was born in 82, so I grew up in the 80s, and I just, you know, everything about the 80s, the toys, the music, the clothes, the movies. So I wanted to start with the 80s and talk about my favorite films. So if you haven't seen my favorite films of 1980, I will put that in the description. And if you want to do a response video to this, definitely go ahead. That'd be awesome. So now we're going to talk about my favorite films of the year 1981. Whether it's horror films, comedy, action, doesn't matter. I'm not going to take a bunch of time to talk about these films because some of these I've already talked about enough. I'm just going to list them. First up, my favorite werewolf movie of all time, American Werewolf in London. You know, everything I love about this movie, the creature effects and all that stuff, the whole beginning where the guy gets tore up by the werewolf, just really, really cool. Directed by John Landis, so that's the first one. Here's one that reminds me of Sleepaway Camp / Friday the 13th. And it has a very unique killer, The Burning. Lou David as Cropsey. He uses these shears. You know, these kids play a prank on the camp, the caretaker, and it backfires, and basically this guy goes after everybody. So really, really cool film. Here we have, you know, a movie that I watched back in the day with my dad, and this is one of his favorites, and it is Clash of the Titans. Now they did a remake, of course. I think Liam Neeson was in it, and I think Sam Worthington. I really didn't care for that one. But, you know, like the Medusa scene, that, man, I remember when I was younger, like, that really affected me. Like, the monsters, the Kraken, the two-headed, you know, dog, the scorpion, the monsters. You know, another one that was really cool is Beastmaster. But those kind of films, like, the effects are good. They're really good. They beat anything that you watch today. So there'll be another one, Clash of the Titans. Here we have a John Carpenter flick. I've already talked about this, Escape from New York, with Kurt Russell. It's also got Isaac Hayes in it. You got Donald Pleasance, Ernest Borgnine, Harry Stanton as Brain. But you know, Kurt Russell is Snake Plissken. Oh, wouldn't it be cool to have Snake Plissken team up with John Rambo and John Matrix? That'd be awesome. That'd be the trio right there. Here we have a classic horror film from 1981 starring Bruce Campbell, directed by Sam Raimi, The Evil Dead, your classic cabin in the woods scenario. But this is the one, this is the mother of all of those. This is the one that basically, you know, is the best of them. The Evil Dead. Here we have Friday the 13th Part 2. The movie where Jason officially gets his revenge, even though he kind of got his revenge. Well, it was kind of a dream, I guess. I don't know, because at the end of Friday the 13th, you know, when he pulls down Alice, you know, she woke up in the hospital, and we don't know whether that really happened or not. Was it a dream? I mean, I don't know. I mean, what happened? So, you know, it's like he could have killed Alice if he wanted to, but he didn't. He brought her under the water. But this is the movie where he hacks and slashes, basically, you know, with a sackcloth over his head. Amy Steele, great job. Definitely a good sequel. Already talked about this, Halloween 2. I feel like Halloween 2 is like Rocky 2 to Rocky 1. It starts right after the first movie. Fantastic sequel. I love the hospital setting, Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance. Yeah, really, really good one. Here's a Tobe Hooper film that is very underrated, and that is The Funhouse. when it comes to, like, you know, Tobe Hooper's films, like, oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, obviously, but no one ever really talks about Funhouse. I think this is a really fun one. Here's another one that's actually kind of a fun movie with Jenny Newman and Suki Goodwin, Hell Night. This is actually the collector's edition Scream Factory version with a bunch of special features that I haven't seen yet, but it's a new 4K scan. Definitely a good horror flick there. Here's a classic with Dee Wallace. This is the MGM Special Edition DVD, directed by Joe Dante, and that is, of course, The Howling. When it comes to werewolf movies, I know Chris, my buddy Chris, wanted me to do something with my, like, I don't know, like my top 10 werewolf films or something. Thing is, I don't own that many werewolf films. I could show, like, I could do like my werewolf film collection. I could do that. But The Howling, honestly, I think it's a really, really good film as far as that kind of stuff goes. As far as werewolves goes, I think the effects are really good. After that, though, I just can't remember much of the other Howling movies. I have to rewatch those again. But Dee Wallace, I'm actually glad Dee Wallace is sticking with horror movies. She still does them now. She does like some independent ones too. Here we have a Stallone film that's really underrated. This is the collector's edition Shout Factory Shout Select version, and that is Nighthawks with Rutger Hauer. This movie, of course, you have Billy D. Williams, Lindsay Wagner. But yeah, no one ever really talks about this movie. And I think I saw this movie back on VHS back in the day, because we had 2 video stores here in town. Family Video was one. I don't remember what the other one was. But I remember renting it on VHS. And that kind of that didn't start my Stallone kick, but because Rocky's the one that did that. But I started to get into like other Stallone films, like Victory and Fist, and like just other ones that I wanted to rent because I was in a, you know, Stallone craze. But Nighthawks. The last film here that I'm going to mention for the year 1981, of course, is a classic, and it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is on most people's favorites list of Indiana Jones films. That, you know, if you say what's your favorite Indiana Jones film, most people will say Raiders. For me, I've already stated in my prior videos that Temple of Doom is my favorite Indiana Jones film. But Raiders, you know, here's the thing. I just want to say I like all 3 of the original Indiana Jones films. Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I cannot stand. I just cannot stand a movie. It's nothing like the other ones. It's nothing like it. Watch it. It shies itself away from all the stuff that made these movies cool. You know, with the overuse of CGI, it's like, oh, and extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings, yeah. That was George Lucas's idea, okay? Steven Spielberg didn't want to do it. Steven Spielberg didn't even want to make another one. He thought that Crusade was the best closure to the trilogy. Them riding off in the sunset, but Raiders was a nice introduction to Indiana Jones. So that'll be the last one that I'm going to mention for the year 1981. There were a lot of other films too that I probably didn't mention or that I don't have in my collection, and I just want to make that clear. For these films that I'm listing, these are films that I own in my collection and that I really like. So that's, I just want to make that clear. If there's a movie that is very, very popular that comes out that year that I do not mention, that's because I do not have it in my collection. I just want to make that perfectly clear. So, yeah, what do you think of some of these titles that I mentioned? What would be some of your favorite movies from the year 1981? Definitely do a video response or let me know in the comments. Either way, I have a lot of fun doing these videos. So, we are going to be coming up on the year 1982, and I'm going to list my favorite films of 1982, the year I was born. And there are quite a few good ones, whether it's sci-fi, action, horror. Yeah, some really, really good ones coming out that had come out that year. And like I said, I'm going to be doing, 1983, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, and then I'll start with 1990 and on. So I thought this would be kind of a fun series to do. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing and all the support and stuff. I really do appreciate it, and Rob signing off. I'll see you guys in the next one.